Preserving for times of sickness. This is part of the Every Bit Counts challenge. My name is Mimi. Welcome to my home. All right, we are on week 3, day 1. I wanted to make some beef bone broth. And these are the things you're going to need. Some beef bones. I picked these up at the grocery store. Some sea salt, carrots, celery, onions, and garlic. So we're going to make a deep, rich broth. It takes about 2 days to make. So the first step is to line a baking pan with some aluminum foil, and we're going to roast these bones in the oven at 400 degrees for about 45 minutes. So I've got these laid out on the pan. We're going to put those in the oven and let those get nice and brown, and that just adds a really deep flavor to your beef broth when you roast the bones. So next we're going to rough chop all of our vegetables. We want to give this a good hearty flavor, so I am adding carrots, celery, 2 onions, and some of that garlic that I dehydrated in last week's video. So just rough chop. I add in all those leaves from the celery, and we're going to put that right in a big bowl, and then we're going to put it in the big pot that we're going to be making our broth in. So I'm just going to take about a half a cup of garlic, pour that right in. You could use fresh garlic. Garlic is great for the body. So are all of these vegetables. They're just really good, nutritious vegetables. So there are the beef bones. They're nice and cooked, and we're going to put those in a big stainless steel pot. I've got water boiling, and I will add some more water to that to finish it off. Then we're going to boil this for about 16 hours on a very low simmer. There are my vegetables. You want a really good sea salt. It is loaded with minerals, so I'm going to start off with 2 tablespoons. I do add a little bit more, and I also added some beef bouillon. We want to add about 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. That does help pull out all of those minerals out of the bones. So we're going to add that. We're going to give everything a good stir, bring it up to a nice boil, and then for 16 hours, I let it sit on the lowest setting and just simmer. And it simmered all through the night into the next day, and this is what it looks like. Nice, deep, rich color. And I need to cool that down. I'm going to take out the vegetables, and then I'm going to skim off the fat once it collects to the top. Then after I've gotten all the fat collected, we're going to go ahead and start jarring that up. So I've got my canning jars ready. I've got a little strainer that I want to use to catch off any particles. So on a nice clear broth. This is great for soups or just sipping. If you're not feeling well, you can sip on this. It is such a delicious, hearty broth. So I've got my jar filled to 1-inch headspace. I'm going to wipe that rim with some vinegar just to make sure there are no grease or oils on that ring. Put the lid on, and then we pressure can this for 25 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure. So into the canner it's going to go, and boy did I get a beautiful broth. Now I didn't have enough to finish canning, so this is what I like to do. I pour it into muffin tins, and I'm going to freeze this, and then once it's frozen I can pop it out, put it in a Ziploc bag, and then I can have little individual cups of soup. I do this a lot with leftover soup, and then all I have to do is pop that in the microwave, and I've got a cup of broth ready to go. So that's just a little tip. If you've got some leftover broth, not enough to can, just freeze it, and you've got some soup to go. So that was day 1 and 2. Beautiful beef broth. Makes you feel better when you're sick. Alright, so now we're on to day 3, and we're going to make some elderberry tea bags. And I love doing this every year. I take dried elderberries. I'm going to fix me a cup right now as I've started working. I'm going to use dried cloves and cinnamon sticks, and you could use cinnamon powder. Now, I bought these tea bags from Amazon. They come in a huge pack. I'm going to be making 100 tea bags. I'm using dried organic elderberries off of Amazon. I think this was Frontier Co-op, but they're really good. I'm going to go ahead and pour these in jars, and then I'm going to start packing my tea bags. And here's what I have: the dried elderberries, cloves, cinnamon sticks, and I did make some with cinnamon powder. So the first step is to add, there's the few cloves, just a few cloves, but I add 1 teaspoon of dried elderberries, a few cloves, and then I broke up the cinnamon sticks. You just want a couple of pieces of cinnamon sticks in your tea bag. So those are the cloth tea bags that I purchased off of Amazon. They work great. So I'm just going to open that up, add in 1 teaspoon of dried elderberry and a few cloves. The cloves just give it a nice flavor, and it is also very numbing, and some cinnamon sticks. So we're going to tie that up and then store these in a jar. So throughout winter, fall, when I want a nice cup of elderberry tea during cold and flu season, just pop one in some boiling water, let it steep, and it is so delicious. You don't even need any sweetener. This is day 4, and I really wanted some lemons and oranges dried to put in my tea. So I'm going to dehydrate a bag of lemons and a couple of oranges. And I even had some Honeycrisp apples that I threw in the dehydrator. So you just thinly slice these about 1/8 of an inch and lay them on your dehydrator tray. And then these went on for 125, and it did take about 12 hours to dehydrate the citrus. Lemon slices in warm water is a great drink. It purifies the liver, cleanses the kidneys, so I wanted to have some of that on hand to drink as well. Plus, I can put one of those slices in my elderberry tea. So I actually did have a bad sore throat this day, so this was pretty much all I needed to do today. Rest, drink my elderberry tea, and the next day I felt much better. So here are the slices. They're nice and dried. I'm going to store these in a glass jar right alongside my teas, and then I can just pull one out when I need it. Alright, day 5, we're going to do chicken stock for soup. I had to buy 2 rotisserie chickens for a chicken casserole that I want to make. So I took the bones and put those in a big stock pot, cooked it the same way I did the beef broth, but I am only going to use celery in this. I want to make a soup base for chicken noodle soup. We all love chicken noodle soup when we're feeling bad. So it's the same procedure. I won't even bother to show you how to do it since we did the bone broth. But then I've got some beautiful quarts of chicken stock for soups, stews, pastries, and I even stocked up yesterday on some noodles, so I've got those packed in a jar. So I'm all ready for cold and flu season with my broths, my elderberry tea, and my dried citrus. So it's been a very productive week. I think I'm ready for whatever comes for sickness in the family, and I am good to go. Thank you, Jessica at Three Rivers Homestead, for this challenge. I am really enjoying it, and I can't wait for next week. I've got a big bushel of peanuts. And Miss Callie says hello. She is smelling that chicken broth. Thank you all for watching. Have a blessed day.